the lives we want are so contrast to what we've been taught to want that once we start pursuing it, it feels so foreign to where it's like scary. And naturally, as humans, we want to stay within our comfort zones. We want to stay in what's safe and secure. So we go along with the status quo. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. For this video, as you could tell by the title, I want to sit down and discuss a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is how to live your most authentic life. I'm kind of in that phase where I am only concerned with living a life that is literally authentic to me and catered to who I am as a person. And I feel like many of us, we go through our lives living a lifestyle that is informed and dictated and influenced by society or our parents or by other people's opinions. And one of my biggest fears in life is reaching the end of my life and looking back and being like, I lived a life that wasn't even mine. It was someone else's vision for who I should be and how I should live my life. I was really inspired by Tracee Ellis Ross. If you don't know who that is, she's an actress, she's an entrepreneur. I love watching her interviews. I love seeing the way she moves in the world. And so one interview in particular was with Oprah Winfrey. And I think when she did the interview, she was like end of her 40s, about to enter her 50s. And she was like, I'm just now giving myself permission to be myself. And at this point, my life reflects that. You could literally tell that she is exuding this kind of energy, and she has this aura about her where she's like carefree, and her life is literally, obviously she only shows us parts of her life, but from what we could see, her life is just Tracee's. It doesn't look like anybody else's, and like that is something I want for myself. So I wanted to make a video to share some of the things I'm doing to put me on a path of living or uncovering my most authentic life. So if you are kind of like me and you are only concerned with being yourself and having a life that reflects that, then keep watching. The first one is very obvious. You have to start to get to know yourself. That means take yourself on self dates, start journaling daily. You have to just take the steps to get to know yourself. Because I know a lot of people who don't even take the time to spend time with themselves. As an introvert, this kind of comes naturally to me. Like, I'm naturally by myself a lot of the time, and I don't mind it. Like, I like my own company. But for a lot of people, being by themselves is like torture because they just are afraid of their own thoughts. They don't know how to organize their time or what to fill their time with, especially because as humans, we change so much every day. Even though we may not notice it, we change incrementally every day. Journaling is a great way. That's one of my favorite ways to keep track, and it's a great way just to document alongside with self days. I have so many videos on my channel of me doing solo days and taking myself out, and during those times I just fill my time with myself with things I enjoy. So like reading, writing, going to coffee shops and just hanging out. Those small things are just what I like to do. The more you spend time with yourself, the more you will discover the things you like, and you will start to enjoy your own company. I remember watching this one video that I related to a lot, and it was with Roddy Shetty on Lisa Bilyeu's podcast called Women of Impact. And Roddy was basically saying how at one point in her life, she was so lost to who she was that she even had to call her sister to see what color like scarf she should get. Like, she didn't know whether she wanted like a blue scarf or a yellow scarf. She had to call her sister to decide for her. And that may seem crazy to a lot of people, but like I was in that place where I was literally calling any and everybody to get their advice on a whole host of things because I couldn't even trust my own opinion, or simply I just didn't know myself. And so this stuff is very important to living your most authentic life, because you really can't move on to the other steps if you don't have this foundation. Because if you don't have this foundation, you're basically following a script made by everybody else. Naturally, as you get to know yourself, and it's going to take time, like it doesn't happen overnight, especially if you're not used to spending so much time by yourself, so much quality time more specifically. Eventually you get to the point of self-love. And I really love this quote by Zoe Salanda. Y'all, what's her last name? I don't know. It's a girl from Avatar, but she was basically like, I like who I am. I love who I am. I love what I do and how I do it. I love the way I learn from my mistakes and I all this other stuff. And I feel like reaching that point in life is just the ultimate goal. Okay, so my second thing is to get clear on the vision that you have for your life. That means you need to experiment. You need to brainstorm and actually sit down and ask yourself, what do I want out of life? Because a lot of us don't do that. We've been conditioned to just go along with the status quo. And this step really requires you to be honest with yourself, because once you really sit down and start asking yourself, okay, what do I want to do? Naturally, what's going to come up is what you think you should be doing or you should do, because we're so conditioned to think, okay, I should want to have a 9 to 5 job. I should want to have kids. I should want to get married. In this step, you need to get rid of the word should. You have to ask yourself, what have I been desiring that I have pushed the back burner in order to keep up with what I should be doing? And you'll be surprised at what you'll uncover with this step. And then the next one bounces off of the last step, is to start designing your life. And what that means is you need to start implementing systems and frameworks and habits that inch you closer to who you want to become and how you want your life to look. Because once we start uncovering, okay, what do I want? What do I desire? How do I want my life to look? It's not gonna happen overnight. You have to just start taking steps towards it. And I promise, like, once you start taking those steps, the more confidence you'll start building, because you're actually starting to make strides and efforts towards who you want to be and how you want your life to look like. And there will be moments where you want to like backtrack, because you may feel fear of like, oh, this is different, this is new, what if this doesn't work, what if I'm not successful in the life I want? But during those moments, you just have to go back to your vision and be like, okay, I know what I want, I know who I want to become, I know how I want my life to look like, and you just have to keep going and push through. Okay, and I feel like the last step is probably one of the hardest, and it's one of the ones I struggle with the most, and that is to give yourself permission to actually be yourself and go full force at the life you want. Sometimes I feel like the lives we want are so contrast to what we've been taught to want that once we start pursuing it, it feels so foreign to where it's like scary. And naturally, as humans, we want to stay within our comfort zones. We want to stay in what's safe and secure. So we go along with the status quo. And that's why a lot of people reach the end of their lives. And you see these videos of like older people saying, I wish I just would have took more risk, or I wish I would have went for what I really wanted. And guys, we have to take their advice, because if we don't, we're gonna be in the same boat as them once we reach the end of our lives. And that's honestly, I know I keep saying and bringing up the end of our lives, and it sounds kind of morbid, but that's like one of my biggest motivators. Thinking, how will I feel? How will my future self feel if I played it safe and I valued security and my comfort zone over actually pursuing the life I wanted? How will I feel? And that's a scary feeling to be like, if I chose the comfort and the security and didn't take my risk, I feel like I would be so devastated. And at that point, you really can't reverse time and do anything about it. So this is like the only moment you have to give yourself permission to take steps towards who you want to become, who you want to be, and the life you want. And it all comes down to living your dharma. And I mentioned dharma in a few videos. That's Sanskrit for your calling and your purpose. And what dharma teaches is that everyone has a unique code in them, a unique set of desires, and your dharma is there to support whatever you want in life. And if you protect your dharma will protect you. So that means like if you're taking steps towards living your most authentic life, doors will open for you that may not open for other people, because you're living your dharma. You're living your calling. And that's why, going back to a few steps earlier, getting clear on what you want, what you truly want, not what anyone else says you should want or should be or should become. Actually sitting down and being like, okay, this is what I desire, this is what I want, and I feel that deeply. And this is why spending time with yourself is very important, to uncover and get underneath all of that conditioning. Once you realize that, you'll know for sure the steps you should take. Because what your dharma does, it will never leave you astray. It will give you signs if you pay attention. It will give you synchronicities, and you just have to follow that and trust that. And that takes time, because I'm still in that process of really leaning into my dharma and trusting it, and not fearing that I will fail at what I'm pursuing. And so you just have to really trust in yourself and give yourself permission to be yourself. And it's hard, guys. A lot of us go so long being and emulating people who we are not. Literally, Tracy Ellis Ross waited until her late 30s, 40s to finally give herself permission to be herself and to live a life that is catered to who she is. And it is never too late to start pursuing that and to be yourself. But I feel like the earlier, the better. Because I feel like if Tracy Ellis Ross had to give us any advice, any young people advice, I feel like she'll be like, start now. Give yourself permission now, because who knows how that will unfold for you. That is basically all I wanted to talk about today. I hope these steps helped you. These are the steps I'm actually taking in my life to build the life that is most authentic to me. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below for a new video every week. Yes, I said a new video every week. And make sure to follow me on Instagram. And make sure to go subscribe to my blog, AleahInspired.com. And that is it. Make sure to stay inspired, and Aaliyah loves you.